Hey everyone, welcome to a special series on refining rhetoric. I was just at America Fest from TPUSA's event in December, and we got a series of interviews, and I just want to share those with you. So without further ado, let's jump in.
Your organization is known worldwide, and we certainly appreciate every facet that you do.
I do believe in what you're doing because I've seen it in my family.
I'm so excited about all the things that, Robert, you guys do with Classical Conversations. It's been a huge blessing for our family.
Grateful for the work at Classical Conversations. You're a leader and you have been in this movement for a long time. We love Classical Conversations.
I do feel like I have a debt of gratitude to you, your family, all of CC for just the fruit that has come from CC.
I appreciate all that you guys do, both through this wonderful podcast and also through Classical Conversations, which I am convinced is the best education resource out there. Thank you very much for all that you do for the cause of Christ and for our families and for our children. Really, really appreciate it.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Refining Rhetoric here at Turning Point USA's America Fest, and I'm at the CrossPolitic studios with my good friend, Chocolate Knox. So thank you all so much for letting me use the space and for you to be on my show.
Yeah, you're a day one. You know, like you've been down since day one. So whatever you call and say, hey, I want to do something, you get whatever you want. Carte blanche, it's all you. So yeah, thank you. And by the way, thank you. I always want to tell you that. Like when we started in I think Gabe's back office room, it's like, we need a sponsor. And here you come like, hey, I got you. I'm like, this guy's as crazy as us. He's going to give us money. So thank you, brother, for being down.
You're welcome. I'm finally getting paid back.
It was a
long
investment.
Yeah, it was a long investment.
10 years.
Man, 10 years.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you. I mean, because of sponsors like you, we made it.
Yeah. Well, CrossPolitics has been a huge impact on culture and just seeing that Overton window moving because of you guys coming into that space. So, thank you all for that.
It's kind of amazing what you can do on a microphone and somebody's like, back room. It's really amazing. It has a massive impact and you're surprised. It's only God. So,
yeah. No, yeah, God is good. The reason I wanted to have you on the show today and talk to you about was there's this, the problem we're having. Americans aren't having enough babies. The Japanese aren't having enough babies. The West in general is not having enough babies. Like our cultures are dying.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's been glamorized by Hollywood and this idea of dink. Dual income, no kids. You're going to be able to do what you want, go on nice vacations, don't have to worry about things, changing diapers, all of those ideas. And it's really killing our culture. And so I started writing on my Substack about this idea of silk.
Yes.
Single income, lots of kids. And so I immediately thought of you because, there's someone was telling me the other day, it's like the new headline was having lots of kids is the sign of new wealth.
Yes.
And it's not necessarily that you're got a lot of money per se, but you got real wealth that you're building. So yeah, tell us a little bit about your family and about the silk life.
So I've been married now for 21 years. I'll make 21 years in March. I've been married to my wife.
Praise the Lord.
Yes, and I married a woman who wanted to replace the stupid people in our family. And so having lots of kids had more to do with making sure that we created a new lineage of Shannons that would honor God and love him and hopefully be a blessing to the rest of society. And so when we got married, we knew we wanted to honor God with our marriage. And one of the ways of doing that is to be fruitful and multiply like he commands us to do. And so we knew if we would honor God in that way that he would bless us. And he blessed us with 7 kids. And they truly are a blessing. I mean, the joy that we get from them is, I can't even begin to put a dollar amount of value on that. There's no, like, well, how much is your child's calling your name daddy? What's that worth to you? It's like, I can't put a dollar amount on that. And them growing up to respect and honor God and to be a respectable young man. My daughter is 18 right now.
Oh, wow.
Out of the 7. So I'm watching her have such a strong standard for righteous things. And I'm like, man, if they think we were crazy, right? Wait till they see, like they say in the Batman, Jack Nicholson, wait till they get a load of this, That's how I feel about my kids. It's like, man, if you think we were nuts, wait till y'all get a load of these 7. These kids were going crazy. And so now with 7 kids, watching the trajectory, I have more hope in the future with what's going on because I see my kids and how God has given me the grace to raise them in the fear and admonition of the Lord, give them a Christian kids, a Christian education. Come on now.
Yeah.
And watching them mature in their faith. And I'm like, my kids are going to take over. Like I can put them somewhere in the middle of the jungle butt naked and they will come back with 3-piece suits on, because that's where they've been raised to love God and know that this world is designed to be able to serve and love their neighbor because of God's blessed it with all sorts of treasures in it. And they're looking for those treasures, right? And so, being able to have all these kids, it's like, man, yeah, I got a single income. I work with my family, but God has fulfilled his promise that if we would have faith in him, he would provide for us. And he has in every way. David said, I've never seen the righteous forsaken or his seed begging bread. And somehow we think that, man, if we have a single income, we try and take care of our family, we're going to be the ones begging bread. It's like, you don't have faith to trust God at his promises? What are you doing?
Yeah, well, the world doesn't believe in God, and they want to worship their father, Satan himself, and so they've glamorized this lifestyle, but we're seeing it statistically, like the first kind of wave is retiring, and even some of these left-wing feminists in Hollywood are saying, "I regret not having kids," but meanwhile, Hollywood is saying, "Shout your abortion,"
right?
And so. Yeah, do you think that seeing the fruit of a childless life, is that going to change culture or?
Yes. Yeah, I think it already is. It was amazing when the movie Barbie came out. The last thing that I wanted to do was go watch that movie.
Sure.
I was like, great, here we go, the feminist.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when I went and watched it, what it was a feminist rebuke against feminism about the lie that they told them. And the lie was that you would enjoy this life without a husband, without a family, and without children, and that would be fruitful. But the way that, and this is so important, when you understand how God has made the world to work, it's only a matter of time before the world runs headlong into that brick wall, and they start to regret their own decisions and rejecting God's truth. And what we're seeing with the feminist movement now and everybody else, even to the point that Elon Musk is noticing that, hey, we need more kids in the world because we don't have enough people to do the things that we need to take care of us when we get older, let alone grow as a society. And he's not a Christian, right? But God's world is round. It's not square, right? And so it's going to go in that cycle where people are going to see the folly of their mistakes. And that's exactly what happened in Barbie. Like, she is making a manifesto against the feminist movement, and she's not a Christian. And they're just saying that if we don't, the beauty and the joy of a mother to create ears and create eyeballs and create a nose and a mouth and to birth a human soul to give into society and then to train them up is you can't put a price tag on that. Yeah. And she realized that.
Yeah. Well, C.S. Lewis, and I'm not going to quote it directly, but basically said all other professions are to support that ultimate profession of motherhood, and that's really the top of the top. That's more powerful than being an executive of a Fortune 500 company, the impact you can have on the world for generations after generations versus quarter by quarter. And the world is kind of trying to make it so that people don't even see that. They just lie to these women. Then they get in their 40s, they're single. Now they're like, oh, I need to have a kid.
Yeah.
But they can't find a good man because all the good men who wanted kids already got married.
Yep.
The infantile ones, that were told they can do whatever they want for life, aren't interested. So I actually was talking to a friend last night, and she has a bunch of kids, and her friend, 42-year-old, successful in the world, like every metric, not married, she actually froze her eggs so that if she does get married, she can have kids.
Yes.
Which is just kind of a crazy ideology, but ultimately it's not fruitful, and God called us to be fruitful. So,
and I've read a story about that. There was a lady who did the exact same thing, but when she got ready to have those kids, none of the eggs were viable.
Oh wow!
And I remember the article read, like, if you could have heard the screeching sound that came out of this woman's soul when she realized she had moved past that, there was nothing, like, you can feel her soul, part of her soul die.
Yeah,
because she couldn't have children, and then so it doesn't work. And it's like, God's way is so much better. Right?
Yeah.
I think of there is God's world just made too, so that whatever you plant over time of the investment, it yields better for you than what it took to work it.
Yeah.
Right. And so everybody looks at the short-term work and they're like, oh, I just don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But they don't ever assess the work and say the outcome of this is so much better than what it costs to do. And it's what basically Jesus did at the cross, right? He comes and says, for the glory that was set before him, he suffered through the persecution of it, right? Yeah. And it's like, that's what we have to remember. There is a glory beyond the work. There's a glory beyond the diapers. There's a glory beyond the dishes. There's a glory beyond the birth. There's a glory beyond the late night math lessons that you got to teach. There's a glory beyond that you can't even begin to account for. And that's what we do it for. And we take joy in that in the moments that we're at now. Like every time you smell that stinky diaper, that's going to be some man that's going to go take dominion. And you get the glory of changing it.
Yeah, it's not always glorious. I'll be honest with you, but the outcomes, the future, like these are young people going to grow up, going to do great things, change our culture. And the world scares you. I mean, the government says it costs $330,000 to raise a kid these days. But I went and looked at their research, and it's actually not $330,000 to raise a kid. It's $330,000 to institutionalize them.
Yeah. Because
they're expecting you to pay for all of these things that God did not design children to be in. It's all these institutions. So when y'all were having kids, were you like, how can we afford this one? Or do we just trust in God's providence?
No, we didn't think about the economic I was thinking a little bit about, okay, I have to buy a new vehicle. I knew that if I had another child, so I'll walk you through that one. Can I say something first about how much it costs to raise a kid?
Sure.
Whatever their number is, they need to quadruple it because there's nothing that replaces the mother and the father and the value and the late nights. You can't, some of that is incalculable.
Sure.
You can't calculate all of that. Is that even a word? You're classical. I wasn't
uncalculable. I don't know.
It is now. I like it. So you whatever that number is, it's a number that doesn't have a value to it again, right? The mother's kiss and the mother's love. I mean, the government trying to calculate the amount is almost like Dave Rubin saying, I got a freezer full of breast milk.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got breast milk, but ain't no mother's skin from that baby who was birthed from her. It ain't the same thing at all. That's how I feel about it. They're trying to put a number to it. I get it, but it is a complete difference from a real family. For me and my wife, when we started having kids, when it gets about 2 is when things start to get crazy.
Yeah. Because
it's like, okay, you got one, I got one. How do we get them together? When you get 3, now they're working against us. It's me, this one, and that one can just go around. They can team up on us now. But when we got to the 3rd kid and we get to the 4th, we can't fit them in the vehicle anymore.
Yeah.
And so it was like, man, we can split meals, but how do we get us all in the same place? And it was just, okay. It was amazing to see God at every turn provide the next thing for us. And we didn't always know how it was going to happen. And the goal was to say, Lord, I trust that if we do this in faith, believing you, that you will provide for us. And so, yeah, I'm crunching numbers. Yeah, I'm saving money. But I'm telling you, my kids are going to grow up in the fear and admonition of the Lord and love Jesus. And it's not because of my works. It's because of the faith that I put in Christ. And he does the work. It's the same thing with having them and being able to provide for them. I trust the Lord, and he provides for me opportunities, and he provides the income, he provides the vehicle, he provides the food, he provides the education. And I realized my biggest problem isn't like, if I had all these things, I would think that I'm the person doing all this.
Yeah.
But God, at least the way that he's done it for me, it's like, no, I can tell you, I know I didn't do it. I know it wasn't me.
Yeah, I'm not sponsoring you that much.
Although, if you would like to, I'll have another one if you want. No, I'm just
yeah, call him Robert Bortons. We'll talk. WokeandWeaponized.com. Go there right now and get my new book. It outlines the history of American education and why the current public school system can't be reformed. It must be replaced. And this is a well-documented book. Thank you, Dr. Benjamin Merkel, for writing the foreword. And as Sean Ryan said, if you're a parent, read this book. Go to wokeandweaponized.com today. So there was an interesting, Benny Johnson posted something the other day on X saying that, showing that the red states have like a 12% increase in births compared to the blue states, and how the red states were going to win. My friend Alex Newman said, Well, not if we send them to the public
Come
schools.
on, I was just thinking. I was just thinking. That.
So, yes, so conservatives are having kids, but then we're turning them over to the Marxists to get educated. So you guys, you might homeschool if you're somewhere else, but you guys are in Logos schools up in Moscow. So, yeah, how important was it to send your kids to a Christian education?
Well, yeah, first of all, I think there's an entry level. It's Christian education for sure, but then classical, I think, is another one. I think it's huge to get a classical education, but it was massively important because so my wife and I really were trying to repopulate our family. Yeah, like that wasn't a joke. Like we wanted to replace some.
And there's only about 30 Bortons in the United States, so we're a very new family. So it's about 10% of us in my family.
In order to do that, we need to make sure that they were firmly rooted in Christianity, in the Lord, in His law, and that they had a strong paideia. Because I think people have underestimated the importance of education. Education, for me, is essential of all of it. It really is. The home is the seminary by which we send humans out into business, humans to be elders in churches, humans to be commonwealth protectors and economist growers. So everything that happens in the world is based primarily on the education of the individual from the home. And what they get there determines whether or not we have a good society or not. And so if you get someone who has a bad home that hasn't been homeschooled, hasn't been educated classically, when they get out there, we're spending either time to re-educate them or to try and get them saved to become right. Yeah. So our society could change in one generation just off of a Christian segment, just homeschooling or classically training their kids and get them out of government schools. And so it was essential because if we're going to have the blessed generation that we want to see to 1,000 generations, they're going to have a Christian education. And that's the only way to do it, especially if we wanted to change the roots in our family.
So, Barnish says 73% of kids who are in church, I think is a statistic, or 77%, but go to public school, walk away from their faith. God told a parable, Jesus told a parable about the good shepherd.
Yeah.
He had 100 sheep and one walked away. But today's shepherds are seeing 73% of their sheep walk away. Why do you think that is?
The simple answer? Bad shepherds?
My point is, and I'm not trying to bash pastors, but why have pastors just totally ignored the importance of Christian education for their flock?
And this is a kind of perpetual situation, but they've been educated poorly too. You got to remember, it took a generation to get Egypt out of Israel. Mm-hmm. And I don't think we've even started the process of getting the government education out of the church. Most of the people that are in our churches, pastors, congregants, have all been educated by the enemy. And so we don't even know how much of the enemy, how much we think like the enemy, to be honest with you. And so that's why we keep sending our kids we think that, they're just learning math. They're just learning science. But they're doing this without honoring the first commandment. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength.
How can you do that?
Yeah, exactly. How can you do that at a government school that doesn't allow you to talk about Jesus? What he requires of you, right? And so when you have been trained by the enemy, then you're going to perpetually help the enemy in one way or another. And so these pastors, they'll go to seminary and they'll get their education and it's always fine. We're arguing whether or not it's a sin to send our kids to Caesar to be educated. It's not. We're having that debate. That just tells you how much of Caesar is in us. Yeah. Why are we defending sending our kids to Caesar? We're working for the enemy. No, our kids are Christians. Therefore, they get the Christian education that's required of them. That's Deuteronomy 6. Yeah. And so I think we've separated education from Christianity. And it's no, these two are the same. If you are a Christian, your kids deserve a Christian education, not a secular education. And they're not neutral. And we should know that when it comes to education, it's not neutral. Because it gives you a paideia of how to live.
Well, I think to the good point, and some of the stuff that they're doing here at TPUSA, faith and stuff like that, is there's more and more pastors, I think, waking up and becoming bold from the pulpit of saying, you can't send your kids to these schools anymore. Yes. And so the fact that we're even having this debate and then that it's not all one-sided
Yeah.
like it was maybe probably 10 years ago. Yeah, the pastors were just kind of ignorant of this, the wolves just picking the flock off. And I guess maybe we've hit rock bottom.
I think, some of it too. And I really mean this, when I became more reformed in my doctrine, I didn't know how much secular ideology had seeped into my theology. And because I was becoming reformed, it wasn't just reformed itself, but because I was coming reformed, it made me examine everything and make sure it was Christian or not. Like, where did I get this idea from? Can I back this up from scripture? And I don't think we have enough of the world. We haven't examined ourselves enough to know how much of the world we have inside of our own doctrine. And when you see things just like, is that the way that Christ has told me to operate as it relates to politics? Is that the way Christ has told me to operate as it relates to my business ethics? Should my business be Christian? Should, it's when you're thinking through all those things and you come back, okay, so then what do my kids need to have if they're in a Christian household? Like, what governs their thoughts? How do I get them to think like this? Is there anything that's opposing the thought for my Christian kids to think Christian? Yeah, this over here. I mean, I remember my family removing games from our household because they weren't games that promoted a Christian idea and worldview. And yet we'll send our kids to government schools that are completely opposed to it. Why would we take out the video games?
Yeah, no PG-13 movies, but let's go to
let's get rid of Mortal Kombat, but never mind the fact that Mortal Kombat would be totally what the secular worldview would represent inside of schools. Like, you can kill and do whatever you want because you're not really humans made in the image of God. You're just meat bags.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and we're seeing that ideology all over the place from, I know Illinois and I think New York are trying to make it so that you can kill old people if they want to die. Government-assisted suicide, of course, we see that in Canada. And, of course, from the right to life issue with, abortion, we've killed, there's more of you that have been killed than have been born.
That's what, to be very honest, I cannot understand for the life of me why black people would send their kids to government schools. Like, you guys should be the most cautious of government education in anything.
Yeah.
Because in New York, I think you have a 50-50 chance of being born in your mother's womb in New York.
The most dangerous place to be.
Right. In your mother's womb. That's insane. And where did they get that idea from? The government educating them.
Yeah.
My wife had in North Minneapolis, in this North High School, had it wasn't a clinic, but it was what's the
Planned Parenthood or
Planned
something
Parenthood downstairs
in the high school.
In the high school that they can go talk to the counselors about. That's how close they were to the kids, and it's like, wow, they are killing. I mean, how do you have a 13% of the population become 35 to 40% of the abortions in the nation?
Yeah.
And we're talking about being a minority group. Maybe we wouldn't be such a strong minority group if we weren't killing ourselves off. And like, I thought we wanted to stop.
Yeah.
Right. That type, they've created a whole nother level of oppression, and we bought into it because they've been the one educating us about our lives, our families, our how we should operate.
Well, let's end on some hope. So you've got a bunch of kids. I got a bunch of kids. What can we say to maybe a young man who's wanting to get married or a young woman, and how should they kind of align their lives early on before kids so that they're prepared for them? Because I think a lot of people make decisions when they don't have kids that maybe make it harder to have a lot of kids. So what are some things you would just encourage a young married couple to do differently? Or,
well, if they're single before they get married, young men, they need to be working in such a rate that they don't have enough time to spend the money that they make. Young men should be working that hard that they can accumulate money so that they have power to make economic decisions for their family when they get married. And my goal, hopefully, is that, because that's what I would consider like inflation proofing your future, right? So you create enough income that you, at this point, with your parents, that by the time you get married, you can use it to buy a house, and having that marker of $50K or $60K is not a problem for you because you use the resources and was inflation proof from your parents, and you got to work, and like that you were able to make a lot of money to be able to do this. And so you don't have the same problem that a lot of people have who didn't work. And so young men need to be thinking about that if they're looking at it and saying, man, I don't want a 50-year mortgage.
Yeah, no.
Right? And I want to make sure that I have capital to be able to spend. You can do a lot of damage living at home at a young age and working at McDonald's and saving that money. And then figuring out how, like my kids have brothers and sisters that they can compound their growth to invest it later, to buy a complex, right? So 6 of them get together and they do this for the next 10 years, they can buy a 10-plex, right? And so they need to be thinking like that. And then once they get married, creating a space and an environment for your wife to operate well is so important. She is a part of your economic queen mother, right? She's a part of your economic growth because what she's able to do for her family should be such value that it spills out into the rest of society and becomes a blessing. And so then as a young man, you should be thinking about, does my wife have the utilities, economic options to be able to operate and do things that can spill out and become a blessing, because that's a return from your investment. And so those two things, operating those two things and thinking very practically about that and not just saying, okay, we're just going to do it. You have time when you're younger to actually think and take the time and organize your thought and find people who have done this already, learn from them and say, okay, I mean, if we can put money aside right now, it's the hardest thing to do once you have kids.
Yeah.
But if you can do it now, you will never have to have some of the same problems that your parents or your grandparents ever had. And so you have a blessing in your parents. Thank them, help them, and accumulate wealth.
I love it. Yeah. So if you're not married, get married.
Yeah.
Get married, have kids.
You have kids, go baptize them.
Go baptize them, right? Yeah. Thank you so much, Knox, for being on the show today and all you do to advance the kingdom of Christ at CrossPolitic and all the other things you have your hands in, and just a true blessing to be your friend. So,
man, praise God. It's feeling the same, brother.
Thank you all for tuning in to today's episode of Refining Rhetoric here at America Fest. Be sure to share this episode with a friend. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers this year, so help us out. And until next time, God bless.
Thank you for listening to Refining Rhetoric with Robert Bortons. Want more? Make sure to subscribe so you won't miss an episode. You can also follow us on social media to continue the conversation, and visit classicalconversations.com/rhetoric to find out how you can join a local homeschool community.